This is a pair of Nike Air Forces that I found in a charity store, barely worn, for £8. Ordinarily, I would have spent about £50 to £60 on a new pair, but no, I found them for £8. Like, yes, they are cheap, but also, yes, my money is going to cancer research and not directly to Nike. And yes, I am a hero. But when I went into that charity store that day, did I really need a pair of shoes? No, I have plenty of other shoes that I'd had that I could have worn easily for the next decade or so, but I saw that pair and I wanted it because to me, it was a bargain piece. I'm unique because I shop secondhand piece. But this sort of fetishization of thrift shopping is the direct cause of gentrification of thrift stores. Particularly in the US and the UK, this has become an increasing problem. And the introduction of thrifting apps such as Vinted, ThredUp, and Depop has made this become even more prevalent, both online and offline. But before you think I'm making an issue out of nothing like I usually do on this channel, let me give you some facts. Fact number 1. Thrifting is talked about in the vein of saving the environment, reducing overconsumption, but at very few times do people acknowledge the impact excessive thrift shopping has on the local communities. What do I mean by excessive? In this particular point, I'm referring to all the intense thrift haul videos that are on YouTube. There are so many of them where people just buy clothing in bulk in thrift stores that they don't really need and come in and they're like, hey, look at all this cute stuff I bought. A thrift haul is literally antithetical to the entire movement, because the idea of thrifting is that people are upcycling, recycling, and re-wearing things that are already around, but also reducing consumption in the first place. Thrift shops and charity shops are investing in creating intimate, high-end shopping experiences where hand-picked merchandise lures young shoppers who no longer have the time to weed through the bins.
I really want to buy jeans, but I really shouldn't.
No.
In the UK, you have even charity shops like Oxfam starting those high-end chain type stores to accommodate to this Gen Z middle class group that wants vintage clothing but also doesn't want to go through the icky bags of old clothing. Because they're having to curate it to clothing that doesn't need as much maintenance and sewing, that is probably more designer and high-end, and then they're chucking away all the old stuff that some people probably could have done with actually. Because they're having to invest in all these stores, the stores are becoming, they're having to have higher maintenance prices. Higher maintenance prices means higher clothing prices, which shuts out the local communities of poorer people who relied on those clothes to begin with. So secondhand clothes have essentially become too expensive for the people who need secondhand clothing the most and legitimately cannot afford to buy from anywhere else. This particular report I'm getting this from was written in 2017. With the advent of fast fashion, it's arguable that, hey, you can still get a t-shirt for £2 on Misguided or Pretty Little Thing. Why can't they just go buy it from there? But the advantage of secondhand clothing was, before thrift stores became flooded with fast fashion clothing, was you could actually have a chance of finding a higher quality piece of clothing that you could keep in your wardrobe for a longer time, as opposed to the fast fashion articles, which are literally made to fall apart in 2 or 3 Insta pictures. So Depop is a large resale platform where a lot of people profit off secondhand clothing that they resale at sometimes extremely unreasonable prices.
Don't get me wrong, I love Depop. I love it for its low prices. I love it for finding things that are out of stock on the normal internet. I also love it for when I see girls selling their 12 quid Brandy Melville tank top for $100. You love to see it.
Online apps like Depop just serve as sort of an online version of this marginalization of poorer people, where maybe a person who for a myriad of reasons could only shop online and find stuff in their size now has that stuff overpriced and they have to revert to shopping fast fashion instead, or just are screwed. So while the upper middle class take part in thrift shopping solely for reasons maybe some as noble as protecting the environment, giving to charity, but also individuality and wanting to be like Emma Chamberlain or Best Dressed, they could be inadvertently hurting lower income communities. But this doesn't necessarily mean that you're immediately a bad person if you have been doing this, because I'm not going to sit here and chastise people for shopping secondhand, because that is kind of the ideal that we want everyone to be doing more of. My problem with it personally is when it's done excessively, as I've mentioned. And the fact that charity stores are now hiking their prices to accommodate this new customer base of the upper middle class is very unsettling to me, because where even I could like walk in, like, I don't know, maybe I need a jumper or a polo neck or something for the winter, and I could walk in and it's £2. Now it's like £10, which is affordable to this middle class theoretical person who does exist. I just don't have any physical examples, but we'll walk in and be like, oh, this is cute and it's cheap. To me, that's like, no, it doesn't make sense to me that because they're trying to cater to this new audience, they're ending up throwing things that are not fitting the aesthetic or the things that people are looking for, that some other clothes end up in the trash, even though they could have been useful to someone else, but because they can't sell them to a specific person, they're ending up throwing them in the trash. Like, I know this is capitalism, but Jesus, someone else could have used this stuff. At least donate it somewhere else. So people from low income communities end up having to travel longer distances just to find a charity store that maybe sells something they can somewhat afford, which is inconvenient because they're still paying transport costs. I'm not trying to villainize these upper middle class Depoppers. I understand that there is more pressure, especially for Gen Z and the younger batch of millennials, to make money as soon as possible. So if a 16-year-old figures out that they can make money by selling a £3 top for £30, they're gonna do it, and I'm not gonna knock anyone's hustle. I'm just urging more people to stop over consuming, because if the over consumers didn't exist, then this little market base wouldn't exist, and we would spend more of our energy trying to combat capitalism than being its gatekeepers. I feel like I just wanted to talk about a simple issue, and this has become more complicated than I'm qualified to talk about. But of course, the real villain of the story is and always will be fast fashion, or the main start of the production chain, which is the people who are actually making these clothes that everyone can't figure out what to do with. As I'm making this video, there have probably been a million tons of clothing made and thrown away, but my message to people on Depop is please stop overbuying and overpricing things. It's really unnecessary. Hey guys, how's it going? You good? I'm good. I thought I'd change up the format of my videos a bit. I don't know if you watched my last one on Amazon, which I'm not entirely sure of, but you know, I'm still learning. I'm still a very small channel. I think I have about 190 something subscribers as I'm making this video. Thank you, by the way, to all the people who have been watching me for this long. But yeah, please let me know in the comments what you think about this whole issue, whether me labeling it gentrification is a bit too dramatic. Have you ever used Depop before? Have you found good deals on Depop? And are the people who overprice things just a small minority, or is it a big thing on the app? You know, because I personally don't actually use it, but I know a lot about it from watching other people's videos. And also let me know if you like shop in thrift stores a lot. I know I do. Like, I always try and I always enjoy just walking in and looking through stuff, and if I find something I like the shoes I mentioned earlier, I will most probably pick it up. But I realize that the fact that it's kind of an optional thing for me is a privilege in that regards. Reading all these articles about people like me who don't necessarily need to buy as much as they do when they do is sort of like a thing that's motivated me to make the video. And again, I'm not trying to villainize anyone. I never am, because really, if I do that, I'm just attacking the wrong people, because the right people to be attacking are the people at the top of the food chain. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.